My name is Ichong Kao and I'm from Group 7. Before I start my topic, first let me briefly explain what is pasture raised. Pasture raised means that animals were raised run openly in the field and not continually confined indoors. Although this may sound good, but everything has pros and cons, and I'm going to talk about these advantages of pasture-raised food animals, which is against side for pasture-raised. First of all, pasture-raised is expensive. Pasture-raised is labor-intensive and needs more manpower. You should hire worker for animal stewardship who is responsible for to manage the livestock, land, natural resources in a sustainable manner that ensures the resources and lifestyle are preserved for future generations. Besides, you will need prepare money for animal welfare, water treatment, environmental remediation, and etc. This will certainly reflect the price of the food products. The pasture-raised food products will be more expensive than regular raised, which is industrialized food products. It's because pasture-raised animals are smaller in size and limited things tend to cost more. Pasture-raised is different in model. It is different model of food production compared to industrialized raised animals. It needs more workers, bigger land, more resources, and so on to maintain the quality of the food products, which is why it costs more and is more expensive. Next, pasture raised need more time and effort. To have successful pasture establishment, you need to choose which species of plant that is well adapted to the soil pH level. You need to carefully choose plant to grow is because you need to expect the climate condition, like for example winter season. Due to climate change, drought or flood will happen without any notice, so you must be constantly aware of that and be prepared of it. Once the plant has been chosen, you need to maintain the soil condition so that the soil can be at best condition. You need to work to improve soil fertility, which means having adequate level of macro and micronutrients, soil structure, and the pH level. There are around 20 essential elements of good plant to grow for good plant to grow. So you have to test the soil on several random spots on the intended pasture land to determine what is needed and what is not to improve the soil fertility. After that, you need to constantly monitor the weather. You need to consider the temperature extremes, expected precipitation, and also flooding possibilities. Many weather conditions are often out of your control, so it is important that to plan beforehand and be fully prepared of it. You will need to have tools to check weather condition or device to get the weather information. Moreover, if you raise multiple species of animals, you need to keep track of complicated rotation systems. You need to move the animals from one parcel of land to another. Like for example, you start with cattle in this part of the land for several days, then move it to goats, then chicken for a week before allowing the field to be lie fallow and start the whole thing all over again. You will certainly spend a lot of time rotating the animals because not all animals are good in following in the command or following the orders. So also you would need to spend more time to remove the waste left by the animals. Although the waste can act as fertilizer for the land, but over time the waste will be more and more, and this will attract a lot of flies. It is not hygienic, and also it is more certain that the land will be covered with unpleasant smell. If the smell lingering in the land, you might think twice when you want to go for a walk in the land, or maybe go check up the animals. Lastly, pasture raised can be harmful for environment. Some people might say pasture raised is beneficial for environment, but many also argue that the livestock can emit more greenhouse gas than cars. Scientists of National Institute of Livestock and Greenland Science in Japan have estimated that 1 kilogram of beef emits more greenhouse gas than 155 miles of driving. It is estimated that on average, every cow produces 80 to 100 kilograms of methane each year, and this gas can deplete the ozone layer. Okay, so these are the disadvantages for having pasture raised food animals, and this is why you need to avoid it and maybe consider another method to raise the food animal. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Braxton Mia, and I will be presenting the cons on raising all food animals free range. Before I begin sharing one of the cons of free range animals, I want to explain what free range is. Free range is a method of farming husbandry where the animals, for at least a part of the day, can roam freely outdoors, rather than being confined in an enclosure 24 hours of the day. While this sounds while this sounds positive, there are many negative aspects of having free range food animals. According to the United Egg Producers of the Egg Farmers of America, the Council for Agricultural Science and Technology, also known as CAST, states that while consumers may perceive free range systems to be more animal welfare friendly, the actual research comparing different production systems is inconclusive and often contradictory. This proves there is no real conclusive evidence or benefits to raising free range animals. There are many cons to raising free range animals. One con, according to the people for the ethnic treatment of animal, also known as PETA, states that animals or organic free range often endure the same cruel mutilations as animals on the conventional factory farms. These mutilations include debeaking, dehorning, and castration without painkillers. For example, cattle cattle typically have their horns cut off and their testicles cut out of their scrotums, and many are branded with searing hot irons. Also, pigs on free-range farms often have their tails cut off, their ears notched, and at times have rings forced into their sensitive noses in order to prevent them from rooting in the grass and dirt, which pigs love to do. By taking away their favorite activities of a pig, what is the benefit or positive aspect of having them free range? There's none. Secondly, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, also known as USDA, makes no claim that organically produced food is safer or more nutritious than conventional produced food. This means that terms we see at the grocery store like organic, natural, humane, and free range on eggs, milk, and meat are actually filled with artery clogged saturated fat and cholesterol, just like the conventional meat, milk, and eggs. Another con about free range animals is that they are usually raised in crowded conditions and killed in the same filthy, waste ridden slaughterhouses as the animals from factory farms. Their flesh may also be contaminated with bacteria and other pathogens. Again, this shows that there's no real benefits to free range and has the same negative effects as factory farmed animals. The next con of free range is that the animals need to be under supervision because they can walk around and get into things you do not want them getting into. Keeping good supervision leads to another con of free range animals. They could get into gardens and eat all your vegetables. You would have to build a fence or train them to stay out, which is an extra hassle. A lot of problems stems from animal supervision because if you do not watch them, they can go hide their eggs, and that would result into you losing produce. Cleaning up after the animals can be another problem because they do not have one spot where they are going to poop. It is gonna be wherever they feel like it, so you will have to clean it up before it starts composting, which leads to the birds dirt bathing in their own feces. Dirt baths can be healthy for the birds, but if they are doing it in their own feces, it is bad for their health. Another big problem when predators get into the facility and start eating animals, because they do not have no shelter to hide in or protect them. As you can see, this proves there's more cons than pros on raising all food animals free range. Thank you.